Hello all, a very good day to all of you. I hope all your preparations are underway for the first PUC final exams. So today we'll be discussing the passing package of first PU grammar. Okay. So as you all are very well aware, 40 marks will be literature and 40 marks will be grammar. So we'll be discussing the passing package of grammar. Okay. Moving on. So this is your first PU grammar syllabus, but also keep in mind that most of these topics will be repeated in your second PUC as well. So be very thorough with the first PU grammar syllabus. Okay, literature, of course, you will be having different lessons and poems as you move to second PUC, but first PU, the grammar topics, many of them will repeat in second PUC as well. So be very thorough with it. So today we'll be discussing these topics. Okay, so these topics in total will add up to 31 marks. 31 marks. Yeah. So this is not for 17 marks. Yeah. In total you will have 31 marks of a grammar. So we'll not be covering reading comprehension because reading comprehension by default all of you can solve them. You just need to read and analyze and answer the questions. Of course, all the 9 questions that you get will be direct questions, so we won't be discussing reading comprehension. Apart from that, the rest of the 31 marks will be discussed today. So that is your passing package for the grammar. So articles, so you've already written a midterm and 2 preparatory exams, so you'll very well be aware of the examination pattern and the marks allotment. So articles, okay, articles, you will get a mandatory articles question for 2 marks. You also get a mandatory preposition question for 3 marks. Apart from that, you will also have a language function match the following question for 5 marks. All these will be in part A. Okay. Now moving on, you will have a word order question which will be for usually 1 mark. Here they've given 2, but it will usually be for 1 mark. You'll have question forms, question tags, etc. All that for 4 marks. Error correction questions you'll be having for 4 marks. So yeah, and a mandatory letter writing question for 5 marks. So these are the topics that we'll be discussing today. Okay. So we can have a glimpse of the topics that we'll be discussing. These are short questions that will be coming for the final exam as well. So you can take your preparatory papers, the question papers, and just look through, because almost all these questions have come. So this is the same that will be repeated in the final exam as well. Okay, moving on. So the first question, the first topic, articles. Okay, so articles are mainly divided into 2 types, right? You have 3 articles only in total, a, an, and the. You have 3 articles. Articles are divided into 2, indefinite articles and definite articles. So indefinite article is a and an, definite article is the. You don't need to know the definition, you just need to know when to use the indefinite article and when to use the definite article. So indefinite article, if the noun is singular and countable, and this is the first time, it is the first time that you are mentioning a noun, or yeah, if it is the first time you're mentioning a noun in a sentence, then you use an indefinite article. Okay, I bought a book. Okay, so in that sentence we do not know which book we are talking about. I bought a book. Again, if you are continuing the sentence, okay, then you can use a definite article. But when you're first talking about that noun, you do not know what is that noun, so you use an indefinite article. I bought a book. Second sentence, there is a bird outside. There is a bird outside, you do not know which bird, so we do not know anything about the bird, so which is why we use the indefinite article. Apart from this, measurements and rates also take the indefinite article, so 3 times a week. If the noun starts with a vowel sound, then the article an is used. Okay, an ear, an uncle, an hour. If the noun starts with a consonant sound, then the article a is used. Of course, we've learned this. So when do we use the indefinite article a, and when do we use the indefinite article an? So when you see a word, do not simply put the articles simply by seeing the letters. Okay, you see the sounds that the specific word is making. Now for example, the word honest. So what article comes before honest? Do you say he is a honest man, or do you say he is an honest man? You say he is an honest man. Okay, why is that? Because H is silent, it is honest. Okay, so honest makes a vowel sound, which is why you use the indefinite article an. So an is used before vowel sounds, is used before consonant sounds. Now a similar example. Okay, do you say a university or do you say an university? You use a university. Why is that? Because although the word university starts with a vowel u, it makes a y sound. Okay, university, y. Okay, which is why you use the indefinite article a. So do not judge the word simply by the letters. Okay, you pronounce the word, see the sound they are using, and only use the articles appropriately. If the word that you are pronouncing makes a consonant sound, then you use a. If the word you're pronouncing uses a vowel sound, then you use an. Okay, another example. Okay, MLA. So he is an MLA, you say. He is an MLA is what you say. Why is that? Because although M is a consonant, okay, you are when you pronounce MLA, it makes a sound, right? E sound, MLA. So that it starts with a vowel sound, MLA, which is why you use an. Okay, an MLA. So these are the examples. So this is how you should be using the indefinite article and an. Okay, moving on. Now we'll talk about the definite article. The definite article the. So when you are very sure about something, like say you have already mentioned something, or when you want to specify a particular noun, okay, that is when you use the definite article the. So if your reader or listener understands what you are referring to, then you will usually need the definite article. So I bought a book last week. So in the first sentence, you do not know which book it is. I bought a book last week. Now you are talking about the same book in the second sentence. So at that time you use the definite article. So the book is about trees. So in the first sentence, you do not know which book, which is why you use the indefinite article a. In the second sentence, however, you know the book because that book is the same book mentioned in the first sentence. So I bought a book. So the book is already mentioned. So in the second sentence, we are talking about the book that is already mentioned in the first sentence. So that is why you use the definite article the before the noun. Okay, so the book. So you have just mentioned the book, so you both know which one. So in the first sentence, we mentioned the book. Moving on, we went to a wedding yesterday. The bride wore a lovely dress. Now in this sentence, however, the bride is being mentioned for the first time, and yet the is used. Okay, why is that? Because you have already mentioned the wedding. Okay, there can only be, okay, by default, it is understood that there is only one bride and one groom in a wedding. Right, so you are going to a wedding, so you are obviously talking about the bride in that wedding. Okay, so the bride you are talking about is the bride of the wedding you attended earlier. So in the first sentence you talked about a wedding, which is why by default in the second sentence it is understood that you are talking about the bride of that wedding, which is why in the second sentence you use the definite article the. Okay, so you have not mentioned the bride before, but you both know which she is connected to the wedding that you mentioned in the first sentence. We do not need an article if a noun is plural or uncountable and it is not definite. For if the quantity is not known, okay, then you most definitely don't need to use an article before. Okay, women generally live longer than men. So here also you do not use any article, and articles are difficult to use, so you do not use any article before that. The second example, paint is hard to remove. Okay, you do not say the paint or a paint. Okay, so you just say paint is hard to remove. So moving on, we'll discuss the examples. Fill in the blanks with appropriate articles. So help me out here. Okay, she found, what do you write here? An old book, because you do not know which book. She found an old book in the library. So the library, because you already found a book. So from a particular library it is understood, which is why the library. Once upon a time, an elephant made friendship with a man. Both elephant and man are alien to us, that is we do not know them, which is why we use the indefinite articles. Why an elephant? Because elephant makes a vowel sound, so an elephant. One day the elephant went to his friend who had a little hut, okay, at the edge of the forest, okay. So who had a little hut, we do not know the hut. At the edge, why do we say the edge? Because it's a specific position, which is why we use the definite article the, at the edge of the forest. The fourth question, we saw an owl, we do not know the owl, sitting on the roof last night. Okay, you saw a particular roof, and in that particular roof you saw an owl, okay. So you know the roof, which is why you use on the roof last night. The man went out and built a bigger hut at a little distance away from the jungle, okay. So a bigger and better hut, so it can be any hut for that matter, from the jungle. It's a specified jungle, we know, okay. Yeah, moving on to the next topic, the prepositions. Yeah, preposition. So a preposition is a word that shows the relationship between a noun or pronoun and other parts of a sentence. Now in school you would have learned that preposition basically talks about position. It is partially correct, not fully, okay. Preposition can talk about position also, okay, like say the cat is under the table. Preposition can talk about movement also, he swam across the river. Okay, preposition can talk about time also. Okay, he'll be here by noon, or he will arrive by noon. So preposition not necessarily means or does not only talk about position. Preposition can talk about movement also. Preposition can also talk about time also. Okay, so we have 4 prepositions actually, but in PU you need to learn only 3. You have preposition of manner also, but you don't have to learn it for PU. Okay, in your grammar book you're given only 3 types of preposition: preposition of position, movement, and time. Okay, place actually, it's not position, preposition of place, movement, and time. Okay, so what is basically a preposition? It is talking about the relationship of a noun or a pronoun with the rest of the sentence. So in every sentence you have a noun or a pronoun. Okay, so how you connect that noun or pronoun with the rest of the sentence? Most often you connect them with a preposition. So that is what a preposition does. That is the role of a preposition. It connects the noun or pronoun with the rest of the sentence. So it tells us where something is, when something happens, or how things are related. Now common prepositions include words like in, on, at, under, and with. For example, in the sentence, the book is on the table. You have here the subject, the book, okay, is on the table. On is the preposition showing the position of the book with respect to the table or the rest of the sentence. Moving on. So we'll discuss, solve some questions, okay. Preposition. So first question, he took out from his various pockets about 5 wallets. One among them was mine. So he took out from, when you are taking something from something else, okay, drawing something from something else, you use from, the preposition. Okay, about, the preposition about can be used either for position or if the quantity is not known, if there is like a rough idea. So his various pockets, about 5 wallets, because it's a vague estimation. Okay, you do not know the exact amount of wallets he has. It's an estimation. That is why you use about. Okay, one among them was mine. So when you have a group, and so when you're talking about the rest of the group, you use the preposition among them. Okay, so you are choosing something from a group, you use among. Okay, and moreover in the exam also you will be given options. Okay, so you'll be given a bracket with 4 or 5 prepositions. You can use each preposition only once. Okay, so make sure, so that makes your job a lot easier. Okay, you have to fill in the blanks with the appropriate preposition given in the bracket. You're supposed to use a preposition only once, so that makes your job a lot easier. Okay, moving on. The cat is behind the table, hiding under the chair, The cat is behind the table, hiding under the chair and looking at me. Okay, so looking at me, so in is not used here. Okay, so see the options in the bracket and use the prepositions accordingly. Looking at me. Okay, we will go to the beach in the morning and return by sunset. We will go to the beach in the morning and return by sunset. So at, on, in, etc. are prepositions of time. Okay, so you should be very aware, very thorough with when to use the prepositions of time. Okay, at, on, in, etc. We will go to the beach in the morning and return by sunset. By sunset meaning you will return before sunset. She plays the flowers in the vase and kept it on the shelf and smiled with joy. Okay, so when you're putting something inside something, you use in. So she placed the flowers in the vase. So she placed it inside the vase and kept it on the shelf, on top of the shelf, and smiled with joy. Okay, the last one. Krishna ground this root and drank it with milk. It's a direct question from the text. Within a day his piles improved. He was completely cured in 5 days. Krishna bid goodbye to his job as a rickshaw driver. Okay, so is it all correct? Yeah, so there are more examples in the question bank also that you can solve. These are 5 questions from the question bank. Articles also same thing, 5 questions we've solved. So you can solve the rest of the questions. Okay, moving on. Yeah, language functions. So language functions is very important because 9 marks from this set topic will be coming for your exam. Okay, 9 marks. So you'll be having a match the following, a mandatory match the following question. So this question will be coming for 5 marks and it will be in part A. So you have already written the midterm exam as well as the 2 preparatory exams, and you would have seen a question like this, right? It's a match the following question. It's a mandatory question for 5 marks. Okay, you have to match the appropriate expressions with the language function. So what are language functions basically? So there are certain expressions or certain formal expressions that you need to be employing, okay, in certain context. Okay, now based on situation you need to use the expression. Now there is formal way of expressing something, there is informal way of expressing something. Okay, so now greeting. Okay, a formal greeting could be wishing somebody. Okay, and informal greeting would be hello, hi, etc. So there is greeting, there is leave taking, there is apologizing. Okay, that is saying sorry. Okay, there is starting a conversation, there is requesting, introducing. So many language functions. Okay, based on the expression you need to match the expression to the language function. So here, yeah, the first expression, excuse me. Excuse me is starting a conversation. Are we correct? Let's see. Okay, can you please help me cross the road? So can you please help me cross the road? In what context do you say that? You're asking for a help, right? You're asking a favor from somebody. So what can that be here? You're requesting. So E. It is very kind of you. It is very kind of you is expressing gratitude, expression of gratitude. It is very kind of you. So when do you say it is very kind of you? When somebody helps you. Okay, you say thank you, right? So you can either say thank you or you can say it is very kind of you. That is an expression of gratitude. Okay, you look stunning in this dress. You're basically complimenting somebody. Okay, complimenting somebody on the way they look. So complimenting. You look stunning in this. Congratulations, you won the first prize. So that is congratulating. Okay, do not get confused between congratulating and complimenting. Okay, you may get both of these expressions for match the following. Do not get confused. Okay, congratulations, you won the first prize is congratulating. So F is left out. Yeah. So is it correct? Yeah. So this is a mandatory 5-mark question that will be getting in the exam as well. Okay. So you have more such expressions in the grammar book as well as the question bank. Okay. There is a formal way of greeting. There is an informal way of greeting. There is a formal way of introducing. There is an informal way. There is a formal way of leave taking. There is an informal way. So read the expressions. Okay. And then analyze whether they are formal or informal. Only then you match them to the language functions. Okay. And when you're matching them, also make sure that you write the option with their answers. Okay. Some of you have the habit of writing only the options, right? Write the options with their answers. Okay. It makes the job of the evaluator a lot easier if you write the expression along with the options. Okay. And the answer. So moving on. Subject-verb agreement, another important grammar topic that most of you are confused with. So subject-verb agreement, it's also called concord. Subject-verb concord. Okay, so what is basically a subject in a sentence? Yeah, so subject-verb agreement is basically, now in a sentence you have a subject as well as a verb. Okay, the two basic components for a sentence to exist. Now, what is a subject in a sentence? That you need to know. Now, in this sentence, you can say students. Okay, the students is a subject. Okay, so what is a subject in a sentence? What is a subject? Okay, subject is usually the doer. Okay, the one that does the action. Okay, the ball is bouncing. So in that sentence, the ball is doing the action, right? So the ball becomes the doer. So you can, it can either be the doer of the action. So the car is moving. The car being the subject here is moving, is doing the action of moving. So it can be the doer of the action, or it is described by the verb. Okay. So either it is the doer of the action or it is described by the verb. Doer or described by the verb. Yeah, so doer of the action or is described by the verb. So that is the subject. Okay, so moving on. So we have so many rules that we need to keep in mind with respect to subject-verb agreement. So as we solve these questions, we will revise or recap these subject-verb agreement rules. Now, what are verbs? So you've learned in your little classes, verbs are basically action words, right? So any action that you do, okay, that becomes a verb, action words. You can have a main verb also, you can have a helping verb also. Now, what is a helping verb? Basically, it is modifying the main verb. You cannot use the helping verb as it is. You use it with the main verb. So you have the main verb and the helping verb. Now, so in a sentence, the subject and the verb to coexist, there are certain rules that you need to keep in mind. Okay. So only based on these rules can you write the verb along with the subject. Now in exam you will be given fill in the blank questions and options will be given in the bracket. You have to pick either of the two. Okay, of course your job is made a lot easier because you are given only two verbs in the bracket. You have to select one of the two. Okay, but which one to select? For that you need to keep in mind the rules of the subject-verb agreement. Okay, so we'll solve the questions, and as we solve them, we will recap or recall the rules. Okay, the first question: the students dash working hard on their assignments. So in the bracket you have is or are. So which of the two verbs will you be using here? The helping verb. The students are working. Okay, so plural. Now that which brings us back to the first rule of subject-verb agreement. What is the first rule of subject-verb agreement? Singular, if it's a singular verb you're having, okay, if it's a singular subject, okay, if it is a singular subject, you use a singular verb. singular subject, singular verb, plural subject, plural verb. Okay, singular subject, singular verb, plural subject, plural verb. So subject is basically noun, right? Noun can be pronoun also. But how do you identify a singular subject and a plural subject? Now boy would be a singular subject. Okay, the plural subject would be boys. The same way, fish would be a singular subject. Fishes would be a plural subject. So most of the nouns, okay, singular form exists without s. Okay, plural form exists in s or es form. Okay, now there are exceptions for these also. Okay, now boy becomes a singular subject, boys becomes a plural subject. Fish is a singular subject, fishes is plural. Okay, so here in both these examples, the plural subject ends with s or es, right? So that is one way you can identify the singular subject or the plural subject. Now coming back to this sentence, the students, is it singular subject or plural subject? Students, it ends with s, so it is a plural subject, which is why you use a plural verb. So in this helping verb, is a singular helping verb. Okay, it is singular, and are is a plural helping verb. So that is why you use are. Okay, so which brings us back to the first rule. Singular subject is followed by a singular verb, plural subject is followed by a plural verb. So here you have a plural verb. The students are working hard on their assignments. Okay. The second sentence, each student dash a different topic to research. So each student, use has or have. Has is singular, have is plural, right? Boy, he has a pen. He here is singular. He has a pen. If it's they, then you say they have pens with them, or they have books with them. So have becomes plural. Here each student dash a different topic to research. We use each here. So what comes? Does has come or does have come? Each student. Okay, each student has a different topic to research. So you use singular helping verb has. Okay, so each student has a different topic to research. So which brings us to our second rule. So when you use each and every in a sentence, okay, when you use each and every in a sentence, okay, even if you have when you use each and every in a sentence, you are referring to a particular or one single subject. So when you use each and every in a sentence, every single time, you follow it with a singular verb. Okay, when each or every is used in a sentence, you should always follow it with a singular verb. So that is the second rule. Okay, each and every. So the next sentence, the teacher dash pleased with their progress so far. So the teacher being the subject, is it singular or plural? It is singular. So the teacher is pleased. The teacher is pleased with their progress so far. So first question is done. However, some students, okay, here the quantity is not known. Some, okay, it's not a definite number. Some students, okay, it ends with ns also, so it's plural. Some students, quantity is not known. So what verb will you use here? Some students are struggling with their research, because the number is not known. Okay, some students are struggling with the research. Okay, same, the first rule, plural subjects, plural verb. Some students are struggling with the research. Now another thing that you need to keep in mind is the be form of the verb, or the helping verb. Okay, the be form of the verb, the be verb. So the be verb is the helping verb. Okay, so the be verb, when the be verb or the helping verb is used, the main verb does not change. Now in almost all the sentences that we see, the be verb or the helping verb is used. You just do not notice it, that is all. Okay, so what is the be verb? So the be verb, you do not write be as it is. That is not the be verb. Okay, the be verb modifies according to the verb form. Okay, now what is the present form of the be verb? Present form of be verb is am, is and are. Okay, so that is the V1 form. The V2 form is was or were. Okay, am, is, are and was and were. That is the past form, was and were. Okay, so when do you use all this, right? So am, the helping verb am is the first person singular form of the be verb. So what is first person singular? Now in your native languages also you would have learned in Kannada, Uttam Purusha, Madhyam Purusha, Anya Purusha, right? So that is first person, second person, third person. So what is first person? When I am talking about myself, okay, when I am referring to myself, or when a group of people are referring to themselves, that becomes first person. Okay, you have first person singular and first person plural also. I is first person singular. Okay, I is first person singular because you are referring to yourself, a single person. When I say I am referring to only me. You have we also. We becomes first person plural. Okay, when you are referring to all of us. Okay, we, that is first person plural. Now I is always followed by am. I am, irrespective of what you write, I is always followed by am. Okay, we would be we are. In the same way, you have second person. Now what is the second person? Second person is when you're talking to somebody, you're addressing them, or you're calling them. Okay, so when you're talking to a person and you're directly addressing them, that is second person. So what do you use? You use you. You is second person. Okay, so what helping verb would follow after you? The helping the verb that would follow after you is are. You are. Okay, okay, you are. Why is it you are and not you is? Why is it you are and not you is? So most of you will have a confusion, right? So in the case of the second person you do not have a singular or a plural. Now if I'm talking to one person, okay, or if I'm talking to a group of people also, I still address them as you only. Now you're talking to one friend, okay, and you're saying you are responsible for this, or you are an intelligent boy, or you are an intelligent person, you are a great friend. I'm talking to one person, okay. But now if I'm talking to a group of people, okay, why are you all here, or you all should come with me? Okay, you're talking to a group of people. Irrespective of whether you're talking to one person or whether you're talking to a group of people, you still use you only. So is the number clear with you? Do you have a definite number? No. Now in the first examples, I is singular. I is singular. I know I is singular, so I can use am. We is plural, that is why I use are. But in the case of you, the number is not clear. Okay, and since the number is not clear, you will always use are. You are. Okay. Now the third person. So what is the third person here? Now you are talking to your friend, okay, and when you are talking to your friend and when you're talking about a third person, a different person who is not even in the conversation, okay. Now for example, he is a very, how do you say, a selfish person, or he was very rude to me, or she ignored me today, and so on. So when you're talking about a different person in the conversation, that is a third person. Okay, so here you have he, she, it, etc. being the third person. Okay, so he, she, it is third person singular because you're talking about only one person. Okay, he is a third person singular, she is also third person singular, it, if you're referring to say something non-human, okay, it's a single quantity, so I mean number is known, it, so is, he, she, it is third person singular, so you use is. Okay, he is, she is, it is, okay, in the present. They will become they are. Why they are? Because it is third person plural when you're referring to a lot of people, okay, or a lot of quantity is involved, it is they are. Okay, now was and were. So am, is and are is used in present. that is V1. Was and were. So when is was used? If subject is singular, was is used. If subject is plural, were is used. Okay, that is in the past. Okay, if subject is singular, was is used. Okay, and if subject is plural, were is used. Again, this is with respect to third person. If it is you, again, you do not say you was, you say you were. Okay, you were. So that is exception. In second person, you were, you say. You do not say you was. Rest all, it's correct. So this is one thing you need to keep in mind. Yeah. Now how do you identify a singular verb and a plural verb? Okay. Okay. So the first example, runs and run, you have a singular verb and a plural verb. Second example, you have a singular noun and a plural noun. Noun we learned earlier. How do you identify a noun, singular noun and a plural noun? If most often the noun ends with an S or an ES, it is a plural noun. If it does not have S or ES, it becomes a singular noun. So in this case, boy is singular, boys is plural. What about the first example, the verb example? Which of the two verb is singular, which of the two verb is plural? Okay, you may think that because runs ends with S, it is plural. That is wrong. Okay, runs is singular. Okay, run is plural. So in the case of verbs, it is the other way around. Okay, keep this in mind. If the verb ends with S, okay, if the verb ends with S, it is plural. Sorry, singular. If the verb does not end with S, it is singular. Okay, keep this in mind. In the case of noun, if it ends with S or ES, it is plural. In the case of verbs, if it ends with S or ES, it is singular. So whether is it singular or plural? It is singular. Okay. But in the case of boys, it becomes plural. See the difference here. If the noun ends with S or ES, it becomes plural. If the verb ends with S or ES, it is singular. Keep this in mind. Okay. Okay. Moving on to the second question. Neither the teacher nor the students dash aware of the schedule change. So we have neither nor used here. Okay. Neither nor. When do you use neither nor? When two subjects are involved. Okay. You have two subjects in this sentence. You have the teacher as well as the students. So neither the teacher nor the students dash aware of the schedule change. So neither nor is used. Just like neither nor, we have another expression. What expression is that? It is either or. Either or is also used. Okay. So when neither nor, either or, etc. are used in between two subjects, how do you write the appropriate verb? Okay. Now in this case, neither the teacher nor the students, you have two subjects here. Okay, which among these is a singular subject? The teacher is the singular subject and the students is the plural subject. So what verb can I use in this blank? Okay, should I use was or should I use were? As we learned earlier, was is used for singular subjects, were is used for plural subjects. But in this case, we have two subjects. One is a singular and one is plural. So what verb will I use? Neither the teacher nor the students were aware. Okay. Why were? Many of you will be confused. Okay. You have two subjects here. Okay. One is singular, one is plural, but you use were. Why is that? So in a scenario like this, the subject should agree with the verb next to it. Okay. The subject or the verb agrees with the subject next to it. So in this case, okay, although you have two subjects, which is the subject that is closer to the verb? It is students, right? You have two subjects here, yes, but which subject among these two is close to the verb? It is the students. And the students, is it singular or plural? It is plural. So in this case, you see the subject that is close to it. So you ignore the teacher. Okay, in this case you ignore the teacher and you talk about the students. So the students here is plural, hence you write were. So this is one important rule of subject verb agreement. When neither nor, either or etc. are used, the verb agrees with the subject next to it. Now in the exam also you will be given neither nor question or either or question, and you will be given a blank. Okay, so if a blank is given, just see the subject just before the blank and write the verb accordingly. Okay, you'll be given a verb here, the subject here, the subject just before the blank. See the subject just before the blank. If it is singular, write a singular verb. If it is plural, write a plural verb. Now let us interchange this sentence. Say, neither the students nor the teacher dash aware. So if this is the case, I have interchanged the subjects, neither the students nor the teacher dash aware. So will was come or will were come? What would come? So based on the rule we learnt, was will come. The teacher was aware. Why is that? Because the verb agrees with the subject next to it. What is the subject that is closer to the blank? The teacher. And is the teacher singular or plural? It is singular. So the verb agrees with the subject next to it. Okay, always keep this in mind. Now in the exam also, neither nor would come or either or question will also come. If either or question comes also, always see the blank that is next to the subject. If the subject is singular, the verb will be singular. Ignore the first subject, the first noun. Okay. Aware of the schedule change. Yeah. So neither the teacher nor the students were aware of the schedule change. Now next, everyone dash surprised by the announcement. Everyone dash surprised by the announcement. Is it was or is it were? Now you would most likely make a mistake here. Okay, but keep in mind that everyone was surprised. Okay, everyone was surprised by the announcement. So why would it be everyone was? Everyone is an indefinite pronoun. Okay, everyone is an indefinite pronoun. Okay, everyone is an indefinite pronoun. So which are the indefinite pronouns? Everyone, someone, no one, someone, everything, something, okay. So everyone, someone, everything, something, no one, nothing. Okay, these are all indefinite pronouns. So what are indefinite pronouns? When you do not know the quantity. Okay, everyone, is the quantity known? No. Someone, is the quantity known? No. So these are all indefinite pronouns. Okay, so someone is missing or everyone is present. Okay, most of you would consider indefinite pronouns to be plural. Okay, but in reality indefinite pronouns are singular in nature. Okay, and since indefinite pronouns are singular in nature, you should always write a singular verb after the indefinite pronoun. So everyone was surprised by the announcement. Most of you make this wrong. Okay, everyone were surprised, you write, but the grammar rule goes as such: if it is an indefinite pronoun, it is considered singular. Now something is missing or someone is present. Okay, so everything is costly, you do not say everything are costly. Okay, everyone is present, you do not say everyone are present. You make this mistake. Okay, but when it comes to indefinite pronouns, always use the singular verb. Okay, moving on. Some of the students dash already made plans for the day. Some of the students have, we've learned this previously also. Some of the students, okay, plural. So quantity is not known, but the subject is plural. So some of the students have already made plans for the day. The last sentence, the principal is working. The principal is working to ensure everything goes smoothly. Why is? Because principal is singular. Okay. Another important rule that you should keep in mind, Now in the case of certain subjects or certain topics, okay, measles. What is measles? Measles is the name of it's a deadly disease. Today it's completely eradicated, but measles is the name of a deadly disease, or rabies for that matter. Physics, maths or mathematics. Okay. So these subjects are all considered singular. They are singular in nature. Okay. You do not have a singular version for these subjects. Okay. Singular and plural are the same. Do you say physic for physics? No. The singular and plural for physics is physics. The singular and plural for mathematics is mathematics only. Any of these subjects for that matter. Now pediatrics, you go to the hospital, you have certain departments like pediatrics, geriatrics, right? Or there is in the engineering colleges you have topics like aeronautics, robotics, right? So these subjects, names of subjects that ends with S are by default considered singular in nature. And because they're considered singular in nature, you should always write a singular verb after them. Okay. Do not write a plural verb after them. Now, in this example, mathematics. Do you say mathematics is difficult, or do you say mathematics are difficult? Okay, hoping that it's not difficult for you guys, mathematics, because of course my students are all very smart and I know mathematics is an easy subject for you people. So mathematics is, okay, let's write. Do you say mathematics is easy, or do you say mathematics are easy? Of course, mathematics ends with S. And what did we learn? If the subject or if the noun we are talking about ends with S, it is considered plural, right? But what do we write here? Do we say mathematics is easy, or do we say mathematics are easy? We write mathematics is easy. Okay. Why is that? Because mathematics by default is considered singular. You do not have a singular or plural form for this. The same applies to these as well. Any subject for that matter, physics, civics, another name for political science is civics, economics, right? Geriatrics, pediatrics, acrobatics, aeronautics, okay, robotics. So these names are, although all of them end with an S, they do not have a specific singular or plural form. That is why you always follow it with a singular verb. Okay, so mathematics is easy. Okay, the same applies to specific quantity, for example. So if you say 1,000 rupees, although 1,000 rupees may be a lot of money, the quantity is specific. You know the specific quantity. Okay, so 1,000 rupees. Do you say 1,000 rupees dash are a lot of money, or do you say 1,000 rupees is a lot of money? You say 1,000 rupees is a lot of money. So when quantity is also given, keep in mind if a specific quantity is given, like 10 liters of milk is too much. Okay, you do not say 10 liters of milk are too much. You say 10 liters of milk is too much, because quantity is specifically mentioned. So if quantity is specifically mentioned, or if these subjects are given, always follow it with a singular verb. Okay, so these are the things you should keep in mind when solving the subject verb agreement questions. Moving on. Yeah, verbs in different tenses. So verb forms. So we've learned V1 and V2. V1 is the present form of the verb, and V2 is the past form. Of course, there is V3 also, but for now, okay, in PU1 you don't need to learn V3. In PU2, of course, we'll be learning it in detail. V1 and V2 present and past form. So now take any verb for an example. Okay, any verb, an action word. It can have its V1 form as well as V2 form. Okay, the present form and past form. Say, let's talk about the verb write. What is the V1 form of write? Write only. What is the V2 form of write? Wrote. Okay. Enjoy. Okay, let's take the example from the question itself. What is the V1 form of enjoy? It's enjoy only in the present. What is the V2 form? Enjoyed. Okay. So enjoyed. Now certain words, the V1 and V2 form will be same. There won't be any change. Can you give me examples for that? Certain V1 and V2 verbs will be the same. There won't be a change. Any examples for that? Okay. Cut. Cut is a verb. What is the present form of the word cut? It is cut only. Okay. What is the past form of the word cut? It is cut. Okay. No change. Okay. Cut. So we have so many words like this. Cut, put. Okay. So these words, the V1 and V2 form will be the same. V1, V2 and V3 form also is the same only. Cut. Okay. Moving on. Okay, now in exam you will be given questions. These questions will be coming for 4 marks. Okay, and it's a short question. These will definitely be coming in part D. Okay, 4 marks. So these 4 marker questions you'll have to fill in the 4 blanks. Okay, in the bracket you'll be given the root verb. Okay, root verb will be given in the bracket. You have to modify the root verb. So how do you modify the root verb? So when you read the sentence, identify the tense of the sentence. Okay, as you read the sentence, keep in mind, okay, identify the tense of the sentence. Identify the tense of the sentence. Okay, simply by reading the first sentence. Usually in these questions, one complete sentence will be given without a blank. So simply by reading the sentence, you will get to know the tense of the sentence. Okay. So the first question, let us solve the first question. The lion was the king of the jungle. So you already know the tense here. The lion was the king of the jungle. So what tense is it? It's in the past, right? So the lion was the king of the jungle. So since the sentence is in the past, the second sentence will also be in the past. So what verb will come in the second blank? The V2 form, the past form of the verb will come. So the root verb is given to you, want. So what is the past form of the verb want? It is wanted. Okay. So he wanted to have peace in his kingdom. Again, you're continuing that. It's past only. It goes in the past form only. So he appointed. So he appointed a commission of inquiry. Mr. Fox. Again, we learned the be form of the verb, right? Just now we learned the be form of the verb. So as I said earlier, the be form, we are supposed to use the past form. Mr. Fox, is it singular or plural? Mr. Fox is a singular subject. So which are the two verbs, the past verbs? Was and were. Was and were is the past form of the be verb. So what among those will we use here? We use was. Why is that? Because Mr. Fox is singular. Mr. Fox was the chairman. On seeing the members, the man demanded. Okay. Again, it goes in the past only. So the man demanded them to include one from his side. Okay, so sometimes, I mean most often you get the be form of the verb also. So be very thorough with the be form of the verb. What is the present form of the be form of the verb? Am, is and are. What is the past form of the be form of the verb? Was and were. Okay, these things keep in mind. Sometimes in the bracket you may get be plus another verb. Okay, be plus another verb also you may get. So if that is the case, you need to modify both. Okay, for example, you may get, say, be plus right. Okay, and the tense is in the present. You're supposed to write be plus, in the bracket you're given be plus right. In the tense would be in the present. So if the tense is present, how will you write it? You will write is writing. Okay, so if both the helping verb and the main verb are given, you have to modify both. Okay, the second question. The members of the Commission of Inquiry declared that. So again, as I said earlier, you will be given two verbs. Declared that. So what is the tense of the sentence? Already a verb is given in the past. Declared. So what is the tense? It is in the past. Declared that they. What is the past form of have? It is had. Right? Declared that they had. And what is the past form of hear. Here is heard. Declared that they had heard. Okay, so the members of the Commission of Inquiry declared is, so it's already understood that is in the past, declared that they had heard sufficient evidence, then they enjoyed. Again, it continues in the past only. Enjoyed a delicious meal at the expense of Mr. Elephant. Finally, they decided. Finally, they decided to give the judgment in favor of Mr. Elephant. The man accepted the judgment. The man accepted the judgment. So, identify the tense. Okay. Now, you may find, so say in the first sentence, say a blank is given, the answer is given, you may not be able to identify. But when you read the whole extract, there will be at least one verb, okay, given. And you see the verb, identify the tense of the verb. If it's in the past, then all your answers will be in past. If the tense is in the present, if the verb tense is in the present, then all your verb forms will be in the present. Identify the verb. Now in this sentence you have declared. Declared is in the past. So the rest of the verbs will also be in the past. Similarly, the line was. So it's in the past. The rest of the verbs will also be in the past. Identify the tense of the extract and write the answers accordingly. Okay. Moving on. This question is a mandatory 4-marker, okay? So be very thorough with it. Moving on. Jumbled segments. Jumbled segments, of course, you have learned it in your smaller classes. Rearranging the sentence to form meaningful, rearranging the phrase to form meaningful sentence. Okay, so if an adverb is given, okay, if an adverb is given, make sure that the adverb comes to the end, okay. Yeah, now in this case, please put in your trunk gently. Gently is an adverb. You don't have to put the adverb in between, okay. The adverb comes to the end. So please put in your trunk. That should come first. Gently comes later. Second question. So what would come first? Obviously, identify the subject, okay. In almost all the cases, the subject comes first, okay. So here the subject is the lion. So obviously the lion comes first. The lion wanted to have, so the verb comes next. Wanted to have peace and tranquility. And tranquility in his kingdom. Okay, so in the exam also, do not simply number them and write the answer. Rewrite the sentence, okay. The question asks you the same. Rearrange the segment to form meaningful sentence. You have to write the whole sentence, okay. It will be given, this will be a 1-mark question. So rearrange the sentence, write the whole sentence, okay, write the meaningful sentence, write one answer, okay. Some of you have the habit of writing multiple answers. Now you will write, please put in your trunk gently as one answer. Then you write, or please put in gently your trunk, another answer. Write only one answer, because if you write 2 or 3 answers, if you write multiple answers, evaluator is just going to put a cross on your answer. So write one answer, okay. So moving on. And in almost all the cases, identify the subject, the noun. The noun would be coming first. And you don't have to rearrange word by word. You are given phrases, right? So you are just supposed to rearrange the phrases that is given to you. Makes your job a lot easier. Next very important part of the grammar is error correction. So error correction will be a 4-mark question. Okay, it's a mandatory 4-mark question. Okay, so these are the 7 topics from which you will be getting error correction. Okay, the 4 topics. Some of these topics we have already learnt just now in this video. Okay, so the first question is a subject-verb agreement error. Okay, measles are a preventable disease. We just learned this, right? So in the exam you will be given 4 such sentences with a error, a grammatical error. Okay, you have to rewrite the whole sentence. Keep in mind, you have to rewrite. Don't simply identify the error and rectify it. Rewrite the sentence correctly, only then you will get marks. Okay, it's a 4-mark question. You will get 4 sentences with errors. Okay, in the first sentence you have a subject-verb agreement error. So what is subject here? Measles. And what did I tell you earlier? Disease, some diseases or names of subjects, although they end with an S, they are considered plural in nature, right? So sorry, singular in nature. So in this case, measles, is it singular or plural? Measles is singular. Okay, so what is error here? R is the error. So measles is a preventable disease is the answer. Okay, measles is a preventable disease is your answer. Measles is a preventable disease. Okay, second, I am believing you. Okay, what would be the error? I am believing is in the present continuous. You don't need to write it in the present continuous. You write it in the simple present. I believe you is correct. Okay, I believe you. Okay, so in cases like this, do not change the tense of the sentence entirely. Now you are given present continuous. Don't change it to past continuous. No. Okay, the subtype only changes. Okay, the subtype will change from present continuous to simple present or vice versa. Do not entirely change the tense. Now you are given present continuous here, do not change it to past continuous or future continuous. That's wrong. Okay, just change the subtype. Here from present continuous you change it to simple present. So I am believing you becomes I believe you. The third error, redundancy. So what is redundancy? Redundancy is overusing something. Okay, unnecessarily overusing something is redundancy. We have the habit of doing that. It is a complete circle. Okay, or say surrounded completely. We have so many examples like that. So we unnecessarily use certain words in our diction. The meaning is understood, but you simply overuse. You use 2 words with the same meaning together. Okay, we all do that. So yeah, now here also there is a redundancy error. What is a redundancy error here? The action was repeated again. So here the redundancy error is again. You don't need to write again. What is basically repeated? Repeated is doing something again. So you don't have to write again. The action was repeated is enough. So the action was repeated is grammatically correct. We have so many other examples also. Yeah, so there are some other redundancy errors also. For example, could you please repeat again? We usually say this, could you please repeat again? Okay, do we need to say that? Could you please repeat again? Repeating is saying again. So could you please repeat is enough. Now free gift is another example. He received a free gift. Unless and until you are gifting somebody. Okay, a gift is always free. Unless and until you are gifting somebody, right? So I received a free gift or he received a free gift. Do you need to say that? No. Nobody pays to buy a gift for themselves. That cannot be called a gift, right? So you receive a gift, it is by default free. So free gift is not needed. Similarly, completely surrounded. Completely surrounded. Again, it's a redundancy error. You do not need to say that. Surrounding is basically complete. So completely surrounded is not needed. So redundancy error. So you will get redundant error questions like this in the exam as well. Identify them. Okay, it's pretty difficult, but through practice you can perfect them. Fourth question, articles. We've already discussed articles. So copper is an useful metal or is it a useful metal? So you see the word here, useful metal. So your sound, copper is a useful metal. Preposition, I get up. Again, we discussed preposition. I get up on 5 o'clock in the morning. Do we use on as preposition of time? No. It is I get up at 5 o'clock. Okay, I get up at 5 o'clock is the error here. Sentence structure, again rearranging, word order. She never is late. She is never. The helping verb should come first. She is never late. She is never late is correct. Sentence structure. Wrong usage of words. The furnitures is ready. What is the error here? Furnitures. There is the singular and plural form of furniture is furniture only. So furnitures is wrong. Okay, furniture. The singular and plural of furniture is furniture only. So that is a wrong usage of word. So these are the errors that you will have to deal with in the exam as well. Okay, the 7 types of errors. 4 mark questions. 4 1 mark questions will be coming. Very easy to identify them. Moving on. Rewrite as directed. So you have, this also will be a 4 mark question. So usually you have 2 question tags and one rewrite the sentence, so to form the this will be for 1 mark, this will be for 1 mark, and this will be for 2 marks. So that will also be a 4 mark question from these 3 segments. Okay, so what are question tags basically? Question tags are incomplete questions, right? Isn't she, aren't they, etc. you write. So you're supposed to write the question tag. I would advise you to write the whole sentence with the question tag. In the exam, some of you write only the question tags, but it's better to write the sentence with the question tag. Okay. Moving on. She is going to school. So what question tag will you write here? She is going. So here the helping verb is given. So when the helping verb is given, you can write the question tag accordingly. She is going to school, isn't she? Okay, she is going to school, isn't she? So how do question tags work? Okay, identify if the sentence is positive or negative. Okay, so what is a positive sentence, what is a negative sentence? Okay, if you say something is possible, okay, now we all like to be positive, right? So this can be done, this should be done, or this will be done, this can be done. When you say you can do the action, the sentence is said to be positive. Okay, he can write. He can write. So when I say he can write, I am saying it positively. Can the person complete the action? He can. Okay. Now how will I say it negatively? What is a negative sentence then? He can't write. He can't write becomes a negative sentence. So what is a negative sentence basically? If I say an action cannot be done, that becomes a negative sentence. If I say an action can be done, it is a positive sentence. Okay. So if an action can not be done, it is a negative sentence. Now, if a sentence is positive, then it should be followed by a negative question tag. Okay. So if a sentence is positive, it should be followed by a negative question tag. If the sentence is negative, it is followed by a positive question tag. So let's see the examples here. So we'll see the examples that we wrote here itself. Okay. He can write. So you have the helping verb here. Okay. So what question tag should I write here? So as I said earlier, always use the helping verb, the modal verb or the helping verb for the question tag. You should never write the main verb. Okay. Ignore the main verb, write only the helping verb. So he can write. The write is the main verb, can is the helping verb. So what question tag will come here? Obviously I can make the question tag only with can. So he can write. Can he? Correct? Is it correct? It is wrong. Okay, what did I tell you earlier? If the sentence is positive, it should be followed by a negative question tag. So he can write, can't he is correct. Okay, he can write, can't he? Because the sentence is positive. Now I'll write a negative sentence. He can't write. He can't write. He can't write. So what question tag will come here? What question tag will come here? He can't write. Can he? Okay. So he can write, can't he? And he can write, can't he? And he can't write, can he? So how do I identify? Again, as I said earlier, positive sentence, negative question tag. Negative sentence, positive question tag. Always keep this in mind. Okay. See the sentence, identify if it's positive or negative, and then write the question tag. Now, you may not always get a pronoun. You may get a noun only. Say, Sumesh is sleeping. Sumesh is sleeping. So what question tag would come after this? Sumesh is sleeping. So what is the subject here? Sumesh. Sumesh is not a pronoun. Earlier examples you had a pronoun, it was easy. Okay. How will you write this question tag? So assuming that Sumesh is a man, a boy, so we just write he. Okay. Assuming Sumesh is a boy, we write he. Okay. And then the helping verb is. So is this a positive or negative sentence? It is a negative sentence. Sorry, a positive sentence. So you write a negative question tag. Isn't he? Okay. Sumesh is sleeping. Isn't he? You have a sentence here. Identify the gender. Okay. Assume the gender to be this and this. You can identify from the name only, right? Sumesh. So it most often is the name of a boy or a male. So Sumesh. So instead of Sumesh, you write he. Okay. Is the helping verb here. So you write isn't. Now if it was Sumesh is not sleeping, I will write is he. Okay. So negative sentence, positive question tag. Positive sentence, negative question tag. Moving on. Second example. She is going to school, isn't she? Okay. Second question. They went to the market. They went to the market. So here you do not have a helping verb. You have one main verb. They went to the market. What is the tense of this sentence? The tense of this sentence is simple past. Okay. Simple past. And you do not have a helping verb. So what question tag will you write? So in this case, they went to the market. You should always use the do verb. Okay. So keep this in mind. If the tense of the subject, if the tense of the sentence is simple present or simple past, always use the do verb. Now let's see. They went to the market. What is the tense? Simple past. So I use the do verb. So what is the past of do? It is did. Right. So let's talk about the do verb here. What is the V1 form of do verb? That is a present form. Do or does. Does for singular. Sorry, does for singular. Did for do for plural. Do or does. Does is singular. Do is plural. Did is in the past, V2. So do for plural present and does for singular present. Both singular and plural, if it's in the past, you use did. Now you tell me, they went to the market. It's in the past. So what question tag do I use? I use did. Okay, did. But is it correct completely? No. Because keep in mind the first rule. Is it a positive or negative sentence? It is a positive sentence. So didn't. Okay, didn't. And you have the pronoun here, didn't they. It makes your job a lot easier. They went to the market, didn't they? Okay. They went to the market, didn't they? Here also you're given a negative sentence. Third example, it's a lot easier. The do verb only, but the negative sentence is given. He doesn't like coffee. It's a negative sentence, right? He doesn't like coffee. So what would come here? Very easy. Does, and also pronoun is given, he. Okay. He doesn't like coffee, does he? So this is question tags. Okay. Moving on. Frame a question so as to get the underlined word as the answer. So in this kind of question, frame a question, you should always use the WH form of the question. So what is the WH form of the question? Who, what, where, which, why. Okay, these are the 5 W's. Apart from this, you also have how. Okay, how is also a WH question. Okay, who, what, where, which, why, and how. Okay, so always rewrite the sentence using these. Okay, start with these. if this kind of question comes, always start the sentence with these. You're given a sentence, you have to rewrite the sentence into a question so that the underlined part is an answer. So you keep this underlined part away. You have she bought from the store. That is the rest of the sentence. She bought from the store. Now I have to form a question with the rest of the sentence. She bought from the store. What do I do? Okay. So I need to make sure that a laptop is the answer that I get. So what will I do? What did she? The subject should remain intact. Okay. You can change the tense of the verb. Okay. What did she buy? Okay, as I said earlier, the tense of this one changes. What did she buy from the store? Okay, here she bought a laptop from the store is in the past. Okay, but you use the do form of the verb. Since you use the do form of the verb, the main verb should come in the main verb should be written in the present form. Okay, only the do verb changes. So what did she buy from the store is correct. So you get the underlined word of the answer, a laptop. You see it for yourself. Okay, what did she buy from the store? You get the answer, a laptop. Second question, dash won the first prize. So I need to use the rest of the sentence to get the underlined word of the answer. So John should be my answer. What sentence should I form? Who won the first prize? So who won the first prize? Answer is John. So I get the underlined word as the answer. She gave the gift to her brother. Okay, now guys, take your time and solve the third question. So make sure that the underlined word of the answer is, underlined part of the sentence is your answer. So take your time and write the answer. Yeah, so the third question, she gave the gift to her brother. What do I write? So I need to get to her brother as the answer. So who did she, or whom is also fine, who or whom. Who did she give the gift? So I can write who did she give the gift, I can write whom did she give the gift also, either ways it's fine. Yeah, so who did she give the gift, whom did she give the gift? Underlined part of the sentence is the answer, to her brother. Okay, moving on. Change each sentence into a question beginning with the right form of do. So third part, again we learned the do verb, right? Do and does is present, did is past. So how do I rewrite this? She likes ice cream. I need to rewrite this, so I need to use all of these in the sentence. I need to use a subject and the pronoun, everything. Okay, all the subjects in the sentence, the verb also. I can modify the verb if I want, but I need to make sure that I get a question using the do form. So how do I write? She likes ice cream. So what is the tense here? It's in the present, right? So it's in the present, and what is the subject here? It's singular. So does, because it's singular. Does she like? Why is it like? Because as I said earlier, when you use the do form of the verb, the main verb should be always written in the present. Okay, only the do verb changes. So does she like ice cream? Does she like ice cream? They play football every weekend. Okay, they play football every weekend. Again, it's in the present. So how do I write? They is it singular or plural? They is plural. So it's do. Do they play? Yeah, do they play football every weekend? I just didn't write it because of lack of space. And make sure you write you have a question mark in the end. Okay, do they play football every weekend? He studies hard for exams. So what is the tense? He studies hard for exams. This is in the present. Okay, if it's he studied hard for exams, it's past. So I use did. He studies hard for exams. So he is singular. I use does. It's in the present. Does he, and studies becomes study. Does he study Does he study hard for exams? Does he study hard for exams? Okay. Does he study hard for exams? Studies becomes study. Same way, play. Play becomes same way play becomes play. It's the same. Likes becomes like. See how the verb modifies. Okay. Moving on. So these questions will be coming for mandatory 4 marks. Okay, so be very thorough with these. Moving on. Refer to the following contents in the table and answer the questions that follow. Very easy. You will be given a table with some data. You have to just study the data and answer the questions. It will be a 3-mark question, mandatory. You've written midterm as well as preparatory. You know it's a 3-marker. Okay. So 3-marker question. Okay. So here is a table. So the first question, name the sports person who won 2 medals. Here I can see Manu Bakar has won 2 medals because her name is only repeating here twice. So it's Manu Bakar. Okay. Dash won a medal in athletics. So let's see. Athletics, Neeraj Chopra. Okay, how many female sports persons won medals for India in Paris 2024 Olympics? So 1, 2, 3. Sorry, 1, 2. Yeah, 2. So just see the event here, category. So Manu Bakar's name only come. How many points? Yeah, okay. So there's only one person. One. And who is that? It's Manu Bakar. How many female sports persons won medals? Only one person. Right. So very easy. Just study the table and write the answers accordingly. Okay. This was just a sample. 3-mark question. Moving on to the last and most important part. Formal letter. Next year also you will be having formal letter, as I discussed earlier. Next year you will be having job application letter. Okay. This year it's just formal letter. Next year you have to write your formal letter along with your resume. Okay, your biodata. So what is the format for the formal letter? From address, date. Okay, the full date, say 10th September, 10 September, don't write 10th, 10 September 2025 or 2026, whatever the date, 2. Then salutation. Salutation, dear respected. I would personally advise respected. You can write dear also. Respected sir, madam, or dear sir, madam. Respected sir or dear sir. Salutation, then subject. What is subject? Subject, basically in one sentence you're supposed to give a small hint or a small idea of what your letter is about. That is subject. Then the body. Okay, body, I would advise you to divide the body into 3 paragraphs. Okay, 3 paragraphs. And then the closure, the complimentary closure. Okay, what is it? Yours faithfully or yours sincerely. Yours sincerely, yours truly is also fine. Okay, so that is how you write it, and no apostrophe after your. Okay, it's yours sincerely, yours truly, yours faithfully is also fine. So this is the format. From, followed by date, followed by to, followed by salutation. After that, subject, then the body should be written in 3 paragraphs, then the closure. Now, some of you have a doubt with respect to from address. Many of you have asked me, sir, what do I write for from address, right? When you come to PU2, in the question itself, you will be given an extra disclaimer. Okay, write XXX for your name, and YYY for your address. So if that is the case, write the same. Okay, write XXX YYY for the from address. Okay, in PU, what did we discuss earlier? For PU letter format, you're supposed to include the name also for a from address. Of course, in CBSE you've learned you don't need to write your name for from address, right? But in PU you need to include your name also. Okay, but you do not write your name. Okay, write a fictitious name, or in some questions they will tell you the name of the person writing the letter. Okay, so if that is the case, say you are Deepak Chandra Das, you are supposed to write a letter to the commissioner, or you are Rakshit Subhash, you are supposed to write a letter. A name is given. So if that the case, write that as your name for the from address. If that's not the case, you'll be given a disclaimer here. Write XXX for your name and YYY for your address. If that is the case, write XXX YYY. And while concluding also write yours sincerely XXX. Okay. If that is not the case, clearly make sure that you don't write your own name and your address. Okay, your own name and not your address. Please refrain from writing that. You should not be giving away your personal details in the exam paper, okay, in the answer paper, which is why it is you are discouraged from writing your own name and address. Okay, so disclaimer, keep it in mind, don't write your own name and address, write a fictitious name, okay, or write XXXYYY, or if in the question the name is given, write that name, don't write your own name. Okay, write a fictitious name and address. Okay, a name and the address. Don't write the word from, by the way. Some of you have done that. Don't write the word from, date and to, etc. Okay, just write the address and the contents. Only for salutation you should write only for subject you should write the word subject and underline it. Okay, only for subject you should write the word subject and underline it. So from, date, to, salutation, followed by subject. Then divide the body into 3 paragraphs. Okay, you need a small introduction, then the actual issue, then concluding is the third para. Third para is a conclusion. Okay, followed by closure, the complimentary closure, yours sincerely or yours truly. Okay, then the name as in not your own name again, the fictitious name or the name given in the question paper, or XXX if it is given. Okay, so that is the format. Here and there are some changes in the format from the previous years that you've learned. In school you've learned that salutation should be written after subject, but in the PU board they advise you to write the salutation first, that is greet, then you start with the subject. Okay, so this question will be coming for mandatory 5 marks. Okay, a 5 marker. This is a mandatory 5 mark question, so be well prepared. Short 5 marks. Okay, so be well prepared, follow this format. And please do not write your own name and address. Okay, write a fictitious name and address, or write XXXYYY, it's up to you. Don't write your own name and address. Okay, refrain from giving personal details in the answer sheet. Lastly, dialogue writing. This will also be a 4 mark question. This is part of your language function text only, dialogue writing. Okay, so dialogue writing. So conversation usually between 2 people is what will be given. You have to write the conversation accordingly. So here you have a conversation between a customer and a shopkeeper. In brackets you are given hints. Okay, so that makes your job a lot easier. You can write the dialogues accordingly. Okay, write the dialogues making sure you see the hints given in the bracket. Okay, now seeking information about clothing. So excuse me. So what do you write? You can write any sentence for that matter, but they should align with the hint given here. Excuse me, can you just brief me about the cloth collection in here or in this store, is one of the sentences you can write. Okay, or can you just tell me more about the cloth collection in your cloth store? You have an answer. Yes, we have both formal and casual wear. Then customer. So asking about size availability. Okay, so you can write do you have L or do you have XL? Okay. Shopkeeper, yes, we have your size, would you like to try it on? Or you can write, do you have my size clothing? So yes, we have your size. Customer, expressing interest as in you are answering to the question basically. Yes, we have your size, would you like to try it on? He's asking a question, so you answer to the question. Yes, I would like to look through your collection, or I would like to try on your clothes. Shopkeeper, here it is, the trial room is on the right. Customer, expressing gratitude. So how do you express gratitude? Thank you. Okay, so writing all these would get you 4 marks. This is again a mandatory 4-mark question. It will usually be in part E of your question paper. Okay. Yeah, with that we conclude the short grammar passing package for your final PU1 exams. So all the best, prepare well. So this is your DMG signing off until we meet again for another fruitful session. All the best for your board exams. Thank you and goodbye.